Good morning. It's wonderful to see you all this morning. Thank you for being here. Thank you. This is a place of human beings. We are imperfect, and we are committed. This is a place of love where you belong, no matter who you are or where you're from or what you've done, even more because of all of it. This is a place where we each belong. This is a place of care. We care for each other and for our community. Welcome to this place.
To wonder, caught a dragonfly inside a jar, fearful when the sky was full of thunder, and tearful at the falling of a star. And the seasons, they go round and round, painted ponies go up and down. We're captive in the carousel of time. Can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in the circle game.
Then the child moved 10 times round the seasons, skated over 10 clear frozen streams. Words like "when you're older" must appease him, and promises of someday make his dreams. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on the carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in the circle game.
16 springs and 16 summers gone now. Cartwheels turn to car wheels through the town, and they tell him, take your time, it won't be long now, till you drag your feet to slow the circles down. And the seasons, they go round and round, painted ponies go up and down. We're captive in the carousel of time. Can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round the circle game. So the years spin by, and now the boy
is 20.
though his dreams have lost some grandeur, coming true.
There'll be new dreams, maybe
better dreams,
plenty,
before the last revolving year is through. And the seasons, they go round and round,
and the
painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on a carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came,
and go round and round and round in the circle game.
and go round and round and round in the circle game.
Good morning. I am Virginia McLean, and I serve on the Board of Trustees here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spartanburg. It is my delight to welcome you this morning, whether you are here with us in person or virtually. This is a welcoming congregation where everyone is welcome just as we are. A few announcements. The first one is in your Connect, there has been a date change for the Collaboration with Confidence. This will be held on Saturday, September 17th, the date that is in here. And if you have any questions, you can see Andy Gillum this morning. A couple of other announcements. We are launching a visioning process for our congregation, and we want everyone to participate. This is a multi-year process and will fuse all of our perspectives into a shared, aligned vision for our future. This will be fun! To start, we will hold a series of cottage meetings here at the church to discuss the process and begin our work together. The first will be tomorrow on Labor Day, Monday, September 5th, for an ice cream Sunday social gathering and conversation from 2 to 4. This and 3 more dates in September are available for sign up in the lobby right outside the sanctuary. Much more information can be found in your Connect, the happenings, and the Unison. Get ready for our 2022 Volunteer Fair. Woo! Join us after church on Sunday, September 25th in Wild Hall for heavy hors d'oeuvres provided by wonderful volunteers, and learn about the many opportunities there are to get involved here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spartanburg. Whether it's a single-day volunteer opportunity, major initiatives, or committee work, there's something for everyone. So come out, enjoy some great food and fellowship, and learn more about how to volunteer in the life of our church. And last, welcome to our visitors. We are so glad you are here this morning, and we would love to share more about our congregation with you. Visitor cards can be found in the pocket in the chair right in front of you, and if you will fill one out and drop it in the offering plate, we will be glad to get in touch with you. Thank you so much for making this a warm and wonderful place where all of our differences are needed and wanted. Thank you, everyone, for all you do to make this world more livable and for every one of us. Welcome today.
Good morning. My name is Robin Carter, and it is my honor to be your worship associate this morning. Following Virginia's energy and Sydney and Aaron's talent, the overflow of beauty with Ruth's flowers and with Sydney's painting, the energy of this place is already evident this morning. Our chalice readings this morning come from the Forest Symbols podcast, a 26-episode series that began in 2021, explores frogs and bees, art and poetry, symbols, and the supernatural. Today's reading is from episode 1, entitled Ouroboros, the unity of opposites. Ouroboros is the symbol of time, infinity, identity, and the unity of opposites. Ouroboros is the symbol of paradox, the limit of our understanding as well as its infinity. A circular snake swallowing its tail, the Ouroboros is one of the simplest, yet one of the most complex symbolic images. Ouroboros appears as the snake that surrounds the world serpent. It recurs in the ancient myths of Babylon, in India, in Africa and Mexico, in the sand paintings of the Navajo, in the occult documents of the Gnostics, and on the Ambulance of Gypsies. Join me now in hymn 10. It is in your gray hymnal, Immortal Love. Stand and join as you are willing and able this morning. Ours is a welcoming community where we find connection, a spiritual community where we find meaning. Ours is a sharing community where our joys are amplified, a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. We take this moment to reflect on our joys and sorrows and acknowledge the mutual support of our community. We will gather at the Rippling Bowl, as is our custom here at UUCS, remembering what the bowl represents. A shell or stone released into the water creates a ripple, and depending upon what you're releasing, the joys can be multiplied or the sorrows lessened. For those of you joining us virtually this morning, it is my honor to release 2 stones into the Rippling Bowl on your behalf, one for your joys and one for your sorrows. Please come. We now come together as a congregation to speak the words of our covenant. In the simplest terms, it can be thought of as a promise. It's a promise we make to ourselves and to each other. Our covenant captures who we are, what we value, and how we strive to live together in this world. The words of the covenant are printed in today's order of service. For those of you watching virtually, it's accessible on the homepage of the church's website. I invite you now to please join me in speaking these living words together. We are a people of faith and hope. Together we covenant to strive to become our better selves, to honor both the critical mind and the generous heart, to prove that diversity need not mean divisiveness, and to respond to systems of violence and oppression with the power of a love beyond belief. For those of you at home, now's a good time to scroll through your phone and send a quick greeting to someone or engage with the chat if you're watching live on YouTube. For those of us in the sanctuary, take a moment and look around. Find a face that maybe you haven't seen in a while, perhaps someone even brand new. Take a moment to share some joy with those around you, being considerate of everyone's personal preferences. And if you just don't get enough greeting time this morning, stick around for coffee and conversation in the fellowship hall after service today. Let us greet one another. Thank you, Sydney, for making me not have to use my teacher voice this morning. Thank you.
Sit down.
Thank you. All right, so now I'd like to invite you to join collectively in doing something extraordinary and expand the definition of what it means to be generous. This is how the world becomes a better place, one random, insignificant, unspectacular event of loving kindness at a time. Our collective financial giving of this community can support, encourage, and bring much needed help to those in need. Your financial generosity is helping sustain our congregation and doing some amazing work locally and throughout our nation. Our Share the Plate recipient this month is Angels Charge Ministry. Founded in Spartanburg, it is a program for women just released from prison, which provides housing and other services to help women get on their feet with the goal of preventing recidivism. Currently, Angel Charge Ministry can house 11 women in 2 homes, and they see the need to expand. Their goal is to add 3 homes in the near future. 100% of your designated gifts and 50% of all undesignated gifts this morning will support this need. If you'd prefer to give online, visit our website at uucs.org and click on the Give tab to find the spot for online donations. Let us bring our gifts.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole.
Good morning. I am leading you guys in the loving kindness meditation today. Before I do that, I want to share some fascinating research that I recently read. Meditation, traditional meditation, where you focus on being mindful of the breath, has been shown to have wonderful benefits as far as decreasing depression, anxiety, helping with focus, drive, lots of wonderful things. But there's been a new study that shows that so much of internal focus has resulted in many people having a sense of feeling less connected to people around them, having a more difficulty engaging their empathy for others. However, people who do loving kindness meditation get all of the benefit of traditional meditation and they get an increase in sense of connection to others rather than the decrease. So just wanted you guys to know that. There's a lot of value here. We begin by expressing love for ourselves. May you be free of suffering. May you be at peace. May you know the joy of your own true nature. May you be healed. May you be a source of healing for all others. May you know love. We then express love for those for whom we care. May you be free of suffering. May you be at peace. May you know the joy of your own true nature. May you be healed. May you be a source of healing for all others. May you know love. And then we share love for those we find difficult in small ways and in large. May you be free of suffering. May you be at peace. May you know the joy of your own true nature. May you be healed. May you be a source of healing for all others. May you know love. And finally, we express love for all beings. May you be free of suffering. May you be at peace. May you know the joy of your own true nature. May you be healed. May you be a source of healing for all others. May you know love.
Join me in silence. Many years ago now, I traveled with a group of students, of whom I was one, to the Orinoco River Basin in Venezuela. It was really my initiation into the UU because I went under the broad guiding wings of Nancy Manlove and Susan Griswold, who were professors at Wofford. It was the most amazing trip. The first time I'd ever flown on a plane. We took off from the Greenville-Spartanburg Airport, and there was this unbelievable winter sunrise early in January as we left. It was an incredible way to first take to the air. And the whole trip was that way. A trip into rainforest and cloud forest and deep into mountains and on pristine Caribbean shores. A trip of beauty and wonder. And in the heart of the trip, we traveled down this Blackwater River, the Orinoco River, on dugout canoe with outboard motor, deep down the river, eventually to cycle back up the river to continue our journey. And on that journey down the river, one evening we stopped at the foot of a tepui, a mountain, and began to climb this mountain up huge slabs of rock, climbing up and up through jungle growth until we arrived at a place to camp, to sleep. All of these students and these two daring professors and reckless guides, all of us. And I remember sitting there with people far wiser and more experienced than I, people I envied already, from whom I had so much to learn, looking out across this immense landscape of green and rock and river and beauty. Not only the river winding in front of us, but the stars coming out and turning overhead, the river of diamonds pouring over us, turning in their courses. So much beauty and a feeling of being at the heart of the world. And as we sat there and talked some and gazed in silence much, a fellow student walked up to us. And he said, "I've killed a snake." This is not what we were thinking about. This was not resonant with our experience of the wonder and miracle of the world. And we said, "What?" He said, "I found a snake and I killed it." It was even stranger because he was a brilliant biology student who had been drinking in the enormity of all that was there for us as we traveled. He appreciated what we were doing and what we were seeing. But there in that encampment, however it happened, I don't know how it happened, you can use your imagination. Students gathered, snake, the snake dies. And I'm sure this is not how it actually happened. But now, more than 20 years later, in my memory, that has become half dream because I have thought about it so much and remembered it so much. I remember him, incorrectly I'm sure, standing there sharing this with us, holding the snake with its tail in one hand and its headless torso in the other. Ouroboros is a symbol found throughout the world and through time. The image of a snake biting its own tail. You can see one depiction of it on the cover of the bulletin today. I want to thank Mary Underwood for inviting me to speak about this month. This is one of our year-long auction sermon series. Every year we hold an auction and people have the opportunity to bid on a sermon, which tend to sprawl into multiple meditations. And this is Mary's. Now, Mary actually asked me to talk about something else. And for the first time in my 5 years here, I said, "Mary, I'm not sure I can talk about that." So I want to invite you to talk with Mary about what she first asked me to talk about. She knows that I'm offering this invitation. It's a great thing to talk about. We all think about it a lot. And it's worth us talking about. But I said, Mary, talk with me some more about other ideas that you have. And she said, well, I've encountered this symbol, and it's just fascinating to me. I would love to hear you reflect on this. And when I shared with Aaron and Sydney, this is what we're going to be working on, Sydney immediately said, I've got a painting that I did about that. It was just in my show about Ouroboros, the serpent. This is from Sydney's recent art show on grief and loss and healing. And here she's interpreted this image with feathers because her whole show is built around the Emily Dickinson poem about hope. Hope is the thing with feathers. And as it happens, as we were communicating about this, we had another biology teacher with us who said, well, this is just fascinating because actually, in terms of evolutionary science, the scales of snakes are related to the feathers of birds. And so Sydney's painting resonates with the deep biological, physiological meaning expressed in snakes. And in one of the manifestations of this image throughout the world, the feathered serpent of Mesoamerican religion, Quetzalcoatl, is one of these expressions of the serpent that forms a ring of eternity. We find this in Egypt, a serpent whose path through the sky and the underworld marks the rising and setting of the sun and life and death. And then we find it in the Yellow River Valley in China, inscribed on pottery shards from more than 3,000 years ago. We find it in Norse myth, the image of the serpent slain by a god of thunder and lightning and used to hold the world together. And when that serpent's grip is released from its own tail, the end of the world will come. This may just sound completely nuts to you, but I'll bet that some of us have this image in our back pockets or our purses right now. Because the image of the caduceus, the staff with two serpents entwined, it's an emblem of healing that comes to us both from Hebraic tradition, stories of Moses, and from Roman and Greek legend. Mercury's wand of healing is an image used by Blue Cross Blue Shield on our insurance cards. And what we see are serpents forming a woven thread of eternity, a symbol of wholeness and healing right when we are not feeling whole and healed. Even the image of eternity, that sideways 8, is a tracing of serpentine form, linked in eternal movement. This is an image that is very present to us. An image that, frankly, some of us are not going to like at all. When I shared with some folks that we were going to be working with this image this month, one person said to me, I hate snakes. And I get it. Many of us have a fear of snakes. And I think part of the reason this image has been developed by people through time is exactly because it provokes us. It causes us to contemplate the beauty and the terror of something we know what that is, and that goes beyond our understanding at the same time. I just want to tell you that I understand being afraid of an animal. For me, it's bats. And as it happened, somebody walked up to me right before the service started and handed me a picture that they had drawn of bats. They did not know. They didn't know. This is one of those weird vibrations in the quantum field. So just imagine what Halloween is like for me, right? I'm with you in this. And someone else also learning that we were going to work with this image said very suddenly, almost abruptly, it surprised me, said, "Oh, this is exactly what we're all living through right now." And I thought, I didn't think of that way. Do you feel like you're standing in the middle of a ringed serpent? But she said, this is an image of paradox. This is exactly what we're all living through now. Opposites feeling like they're trying to tear apart from each other. And the work that feels at once both beyond us and required of us, somehow holding them together. This image of the serpent that forms a ring, it's an image of opposites trying to hold. Just the form of the serpent itself, think of it. It's like a straight line, right? A snake. And so this straight line is presented to us, but as a circle, not as a straight line. Opposites holding together. And this image presented as a cycle of time, whether the day, the sun rising and falling to rise again, or of months or seasons or years, as Sydney and Aaron have already sung for us. The paradox that time moves at once in a circle and also towards a terminus. It's a powerful image. If you dig into it, you'll find that some people find it a horrible image, an image to be rejected. Even people who work with systems of images and with psychology and with all kinds of esoteric spiritual traditions, because it's interpreted as a cycle that we're stuck in, like samsara, the cycle of suffering in Hinduism and Buddhism. But I think there's something more to be found there. We can all think of cycles that we get stuck in, times that we need to break out of patterns. But often the way to do that best is to adopt a new cycle, a new pattern, and to slowly over time build a new way of being. I talk with you a lot about paradox, about trying to hold opposites together. In my assessment, it's where spiritual truth is found, where things that should not be together somehow hold. And if we can tolerate that tension long enough, we discover something more. So I want to give you a way to hold opposites together and to work with paradox. Not just to listen to me, but to actually try it. And it is to engage in the visioning process that a team of our congregation is opening up before us right now. When this service is over, you can walk straight to the board outside and put your name on a list to engage in conversations in this congregation about what our future will be. Now, I don't care. If you have never been here before, put your name on that list. And I don't care if you think, my time is brief on the face of this earth, I'm going to leave that to somebody else. Put your name on that list. And everybody in between. Because what we want is to engage in thinking together about what our future will be. If you have gathered in this circle of paradox and opposites, then you have something to add here. You do. And let me just accentuate why I think this is so important. Because I've already talked about it for 4 years, and I hope there are going to be at least 4 more that I can talk with you about it. But let me just explain to you why I think this is important. This is about creating a new cycle that will move us forward together. If you go over to where my office is and walk down the hall to my office, some people say they feel like they're going to the principal's office when they go down there, and we got to change that cycle. That's not what it's about. It's meant to be a friendly place, even if I'm in it, right? But if you walk down that hallway, straight line, you will encounter a repeated cycle. In the person of my ministerial predecessors, their pictures line the wall. And the dates that they have served here are marked beneath their faces. It's all a little eerie to me, and I wish we could change the imagery. But there they are. There they are. And with only one exception, each of them served here for 5 years, or combinations of 5 years, which means less each, but put together they equal 5. This congregation, for the last, since 1990, what's that make, 30 years, has roughly changed ministers about every 5 years. I've been here for just over 5 years. Gazing at my wife and children this morning and looking at all of you, I would like for us to break that cycle. The paradox is you're clapping, smiling faces, but what's really in your hearts, right? But this is not a criticism of the church. What it is to say is there's a pattern here. And we can talk at great length about what that pattern yields. Clearly, it yields some really good things. Look at this. Look at this. But we have a muscle memory that I think it would be good for us to unlearn. And so we are moving into newer territory, not completely new. And some of us have lived in other congregations where this was not a factor at all. And you may disagree with my interpretation of it, which I invite you to converse with me about, and you'll be in the visioning process, right? But this is a cycle that we can change, not abruptly all at once, but by engaging with each other in a conversation about what our shared future might be. And I'll go further about why I think this is important. I have all kinds of ideas about what the next 5 years could hold for us. And I'll bet you do too. And I'll bet that if I tried to push forward my amazing ideas, they would not feel so amazing to you. And I guarantee you that if you try to push forward your amazing ideas on me, there's a part of me that is going to kick back so hard, I'm not going to look like a minister. But if we push and pull with each other and work with each other, I'll bet we can come up with some things that are better than where either of us started. There's a creativity that's possible that comes exactly from the fact that we are not the same. We don't look the same, we don't talk the same, we don't think the same, we don't believe the same, and yet we are gathered in this circle of opposites. And this process is meant to cause us all to just move together, cycle after cycle of conversation, until something greater than all of us emerges. It could be very beautiful, slow, and beautiful. I'll give one more reason why I think this is important. In 2 months' time, we're going to deal with a series of meditations in November that have been asked of us by another member. And these meditations are about how to talk with people who we think are not only wrong, but who act in ways that we think are violent. In particular, people who wield power in our society. How do we build a shared life with people who we think are wrong and forceful in their wrongheadedness? I was in a community meeting this week with someone who asserted their view so hard you could feel the whole room cower. We are living in a time where opposites have trouble holding together. It feels to me like this is a core question for us. I would call it one of our spiritual crises of this moment. You can name it however you would like. But it feels to me like a congregation like this, where we intentionally gather as people of difference to create something of love and beauty with each other. We are poised to be at the heart of helping our culture, if not find an answer, at least find a next step forward. And when I think about the work of this group, all that we have done and created with each other, all that we do for each other, not with my orchestration, but because we care. The conversations that I see you having with one another, the stories of coming to help each other, that don't involve me at all, but they're about us. If there is any group that can join together opposites to create a healed whole, this one can. And restore harmony to this universe of wonder.
Come, thou fount of every blessing, tune our hearts to sing thy grace. Streams of mercy never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise. While the hope of life's perfection fills our hearts with joy and love, teach us ever to be faithful. May we still thy goodness prove. Come, thou fount of every vision, lift our eyes to what may come. See the lion and the young lamb dwell together in thy home. Hear the cries of war fall silent, feel our love glow like the sun. When we all serve one another, then our heaven is begun. Come, thou fount of inspiration, turn our lives to higher ways. Lift our gloom and desperation, show the promise of this day. Help us bind ourselves in union, help our hands tell of our love. With thine aid, O fount of justice, earth be fair as heaven above.
As we extinguish our chalice, representing the light of reason, the warmth of community, and the flame of hope, we hear again from the Forest of Symbols podcast, the limit and infinity of our understanding. Ouroboros is the symbol of paradox, the limit of our understanding as well as its infinity.
when you feel the world pulling apart, hold together. Hold each other. This can be fun.
We have spent time together, and these holy moments give us strength to go down the winding road until we meet again. We have spent time together, and these holy moments give us strength to go down the winding road until we meet